With each passing month, our country's faced increasingly difficult times. But everywhere I go, despite the economic crisis and war and uncertainty about tomorrow, I still see optimism and hope and strength.
On the 29th of October, the Barack Obama campaign did something quite amazing. It paid $6 million for a 30-minute ad on CBS, Fox, Univision, MSNBC, BET, and TV One. Over 30 million people tuned in, an extraordinary instance of collective flock behavior.
We measure the strength of our economy not by the number of billionaires we have or the profits of the Fortune 500, but by whether someone with a good idea can take a risk and start a new business, or whether the waitress who lives on tips can take a day off and look after a sick kid without losing her job.
The Obama campaign had to deal with the nature of television, a centralized medium dependent on convention. Storylines must have challenges, antagonists, protagonists, and of course a happy ending. Familiar audio-visual cues must tell the audience exactly what to feel and when. Audiences must be on familiar ground, with the occasional foray into surprise territory. All this must happen for the commodity in question, in other words Barack Obama, to be bought by the audience. The Obama team's 30-minute commercial trod the safe line between risky territory and safe ground, although it was definitely far more in safe ground. Let's see how.
Rebecca Johnston is all about her family.
Brian, me, Nathan, Marley, Ethan, Gabriella, Tallulah, and Jake.
The thing I love about being a mom is just that how amazing it is that everything that you do shapes who they are. Okay. That's like molding putty in your hands, and you just want to make sure you do the right thing every day. And
in this ad, Rebecca Johnston joins rail worker Larry Stewart and educator and widow Juliana Sanchez. These ordinary Americans represent the struggles of people like you and me across the country. Raising a family on limited income, losing a job, rising medical bills. These are bread and butter election campaign issues. In other words, the audience is on safe ground here. Something reinforced by the soft music, familiar visuals, professional camera angles, and voiceovers. Our responses to these issues and to these production values are already conditioned, and so thus is our reaction to someone promising to solve them. Another safe ground area here is the ad's tried and trodden depiction of a presidential candidate. All the standard cues of presidential legitimacy are here. Obama is a man comfortable in a big, decidedly West Wing looking office, amongst the public, at mass rallies, and in debate. However, here's a few surprises, just a few, to spice things up.
I'm reminded every single day that I am not a perfect man. I will not be a perfect president.
These aren't Superman depictions. They suggest instead a man of humility from a humble background who worked his way to the top. But they're just tidbits. Really, this ad wants you to know that Obama is the next Oval Office bigwig. The idea that the president might not actually be the sole guiding force of a country's destiny is barely challenged by this ad. Obama can set taxes, he can invest in schools, he can invest in green-collar jobs, and set the country back on track. That said, the most surprising element of what is otherwise a fairly standard run of American cultural motives is Obama's plea at the end.
In this last week, if you will knock on some doors for me, if you'll make some calls for me, if you'll go to BarackObama.com and find out where to vote, if you'll stand with me and fight by my side and cast your ballot for me, then I promise you, we will not just win Florida, we will win this election, and together we will change this country.
By drawing on so many cliches that elicit predictable reactions, this ad intends to be coercive. We all know that in reality life is complex, full of interwoven strands of cause and result. But that's poor fodder for a system that promises that whoever we elect can really change things. Therefore, from the view of those in power, television must be familiar, but not too predictable. The result here is something that's unlikely to convince the cynics that there's a change in the candidness of political speech. But hey, 30 million people did watch, and headlines were dominated for a precious few hours. $6 million? Not my money.